Welcome to Head Kick Audio. I've got the pleasure of speaking with the Gaza Kid, Omar Hillail. He's training out of Gracie Baja, Texas, Houston, whatever. We catch the drift there. He's in Texas. You got a fight coming up over at Fury Fighting 47 against Estevez. We'll just go with that, right? So it's been a while since we've seen you in MMA. You've had 3 grappling matches since then. Knowledge courtesy of yours truly, you. Okay. We went 1-1-1, and we're looking to make the transition back into MMA, right?
Yes.
Fury, they put on phenomenal cards. They got phenomenal fighters over there, present company included, right? So talk to me about, this roller coaster that has been, the fights haven't been so frequent, but now that we're getting back into, MMA, tell me where we're at physically, and what's the schedule looking like later on down the road this year?
Well, first of all, thank you so much, Stephen, for having me on your program. I fucking love it, man. It's awesome to be able to get out there and, get some publicity. So I really appreciate you having me on. Yeah, it's been a fucking wild ride, man. It's crazy. All this COVID stuff has made, just competing, tough, but because, we live in the great state that we do live in, where things kind of opened up a little bit sooner than other places, we were able to get back to work and get back to our craft a lot sooner than other people would have liked to. But in full disclosure, I haven't fought in the last 2 years because of a really bad eye injury. My last MMA fight was in 2018. It was also for Fury Fighting Championships. I fought a guy named Shaquem Richardson, and the very first punch he threw snapped my head back and fractured my orbital socket in multiple places. I have a titanium plate here now holding it in, and it's been a long road back getting situated and feeling comfortable in the cage again and taking shots to that side of the face. But man, it just feels awesome, to be able to. Thank God I'm healthy enough and my eyes good. I can see, without having any issues with it. So I'm ready to go, man. I'm ready to get back in the cage, and I've had a lot of fun competing in jiu-jitsu matches, but it's not the same. It's just not the same. There's something about just doing everything all at once, with MMA, punching, kicking, grappling, wrestling, clinch work, the cage, everything. It's just, there's something special about being in here, and I'm ready to be back. June 20th.
Well, I think we're ready for you to be back. You know what I mean? This is a big deal to get back to doing, what you love and what you're really fucking good at. You know what I mean? So
Yes,
as a Rami, you told me that my research was inaccurate. We went, 4-1, 5-1, something like that as an amateur, and then as a pro, we sit at 3-1.
Yep.
Right? You've had a. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're right. You're right.
Okay, so you've had a couple fights with LFA. You fought for Fury, which is where we're fighting again. So not uncomfortable with these stages here. Like these regional shows that are coming up, they're doing a really good job of taking things to the next level. Like how it was before when you were on a small show, nobody knew except for your hometown. You know what I mean? Now that cards are starting to get out there on UFC FightPass. Which is where I believe this one will be taking place, correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'll be on FightPass finally, getting much needed exposure. So I'm excited.
Okay, well that's what I'm saying. So the regional scene is definitely picking things up to where they need to be to get you guys to the next level. And we know organizations like Fury and LFA and CES, they're that launching pad. Into the bigger organizations, right? The UFC, Bellator, One Championship, PFL. You know what I mean? So are we looking to make a statement here in our 5th professional bout and sort of leapfrog into one of these bigger organizations?
So my whole game plan and I guess outlook on the future of my fighting career is pretty simple. It's to be the fucking best, and it's to be fucking world champion, and it's to live my life how I want to live my life. I've been doing martial arts ever since I was truly a baby. I've been blessed to have been put in a position to where martial arts has been my everyday life. I mean, my family and I run a very successful martial arts school down here in League City, Texas, and like I said, it's just been my whole life. I teach martial arts to kids every single day. I personal train people, fathers, grandfathers, grandmas, grandpas, everybody. And ever since I could remember, I've always wanted to be a professional athlete of some kind. And I sucked at everything else I did. I played. I played football. I sucked at it. I played basketball. I was terrible. It never really clicked with me like how this clicks with me. And yeah, I mean, if the UFC or Bellator or One or PFL or Risen or any of these other bigger shows, want to take a look at me, I'm all for it. But one thing that this game has taught me, especially going through my eye injury, is patience. Being at the right place at the right time, taking the right fights. So if I have to have a couple more fights and then go to the next show, then awesome. But if they want me now, let's go. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to fucking fight anybody, any place, anytime, anywhere. I'm just ready. I'm just ready to get back in there and not prove to anybody besides myself that I still got it. Fuck what everybody else says. Fuck what other people think. I do this for me and me alone.
Respect, brother. Respect. I love it. I love it. And truly, it's a very selfish sport. So I definitely understand where you're coming from. But with the the injury and the extended layoff here, is time an issue for you? I mean, when a fighter has a couple years off, when they're ready to get back to it, they just want to go. How are you feeling about the time issue?
Honestly, I feel like the time has been a really big beneficial thing for me. I took a lot of time off for the injury, but in all reality, a lot of it was a mental break. I needed that time to kind of get my mind wrapped around this again, because the injury happened very early in my last fight, and I fought the whole fight, seeing triple, quadruple, like not being able to see at all, pretty much, and it was a rough fight. 15 minutes of not being able to see definitely puts this in different perspective. So I needed to take some time off to get my mental state right. And, I saw guys like Stylebender coming into the UFC when he was in his late 20s. Now he's UFC world champion, top 3 or 5 pound for pound in the world. And he didn't make it to the big show until he was almost 30 or in his 30s. And, I know where my skill set is, and I know how good I am, and I know how good I have the potential to be with the right training and the right mindset. And time is it's the one thing we can never get back. But I'm okay with taking my time and getting to the stages I need to be at the right time. I see these young guys, like, for example, my buddy Leomano Martinez. We've known each other our whole lives. Honestly, like we grew up doing karate together, and we went our separate ways. He stayed with his team, and then I went with my team now, Gracie Baja, and he's taken off, and it's so awesome to see because I've known him since we were kids, and I'm so happy for him and proud of him, and he deserves it. And same thing with Adrian Yanez and all those other guys, going up there. But I know that my time will come, and when I get there with them, it'll be at the right time.
Yeah, some studs you're talking about there, man.
We got some studs in Houston, man. I'm telling you, Houston don't get no respect. We got some fucking animals down here, man. Some animals out here in the H. Just give us some time. I promise. We're gonna make a big shake up to this whole MMA scene, and like everyone talks about like the coasts, like California and New York and Florida, but they're forgetting about this coast. This coast has a lot of fucking hidden talent that's chomping at the bit to get there. So
absolutely. Well, I mean, I got the ultimate respect for H-Town. Okay, so I mean, H-Town, Texas. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Right.
I got family in Texas. I got friends from Texas. Like I said, Yana is a real good friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
We saw Leo come up, take a stab over at the Contender Series, and then eventually work his way through Fury FC, which is where you're going to be competing. So it's not so far out of, reality that, this type of thing could happen for you as well. So that's why I brought up, the issue of time, because you did lose 2 years of professional cage fighting.
Yes,
and, Fury, I mean, dude, they're sending guys to Contender Series, Ultimate Fighter, straight to the UFC. So Fury's doing a lot of good things for fighters, giving them that platform and being a launching pad like LFA, like CES, you know what I mean? And these organizations, they're super, super important. Without these guys being able to put on shows, the UFC can't sign new talent because they're not going to be able to find it. You know what I mean? So I'm fucking stoked that Fury's, putting on shows and getting fighters like you, guys on the come up, ready to fucking make a splash. I mean, for a fan, because ultimately that's what I am, right? I just do this shit for you guys. A little bit for me, but mostly for you guys. And from a fan standpoint, it's really, really, really awesome to see the success that these smaller organizations are having and being able to be on Fight Pass. Not only is that good for the organization because that means that more eyeballs are going to be able to see the show, but for each fighter in particular, like being on UFC Fight Pass, I mean, you're literally one step away from the UFC at that point.
Exactly. I mean, I watch Fight Pass like other people watch Netflix. Like, I go home after practice and I just turn on my Xbox and that's it. Just Fight Pass all day long. I'll watch old Pancration fights, old UFC fight, like everything. It's just that's my Netflix is Fight Pass. So now it's kind of cool to be able to one day just go and be like, hey, I kind of want to fanboy for myself for a little bit. Go type in my name and go watch my fights and just chill. It's definitely like you said, it's that one step closer to being right there in the UFC. I still have a long way to go and still a lot more fights to be had. Or, this could be the fight that gets me there. But whatever it may be, I'm just excited and I'm so thankful for the opportunity to get back in there. And yeah, man, I'm fucking pumped. I'm fucking pumped.
Well, let me put things into perspective for you a little bit, right? Okay, so aside from, the layoff and injury, right? Mm-hmm. You're still on the right side of 30, right? Yes. You're 3-1, but all of your fights that you have won have been a finish. And something tells me if you don't break your orbital in the first round, you're finding a way to finish the guy. So you put on exciting fights, you finish guys, you put them away, and you're young. That's what the UFC wants. They want these guys on the come up, on the rise, and they like to sign them like that. So are you open to these, opportunities like the Ultimate Fighter, the Contender Series, or maybe even a short notice? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, it's every fighter's dream to go up there, put on the UFC gloves, get the UFC shorts, to be on the Ultimate Fighter. I mean, I auditioned for the undefeated season of the Ultimate Fighter. It was right before the eye injury, and I made it through the whole process. I made it through the process of initial casting where they have all the guys come out. It's like 300 of us. We all do like a grappling round and then round of mitts, and then they just start cutting people. And I was fortunate enough to make it to the top. I think it was either 30 or 35 or however many guys were there. And I stayed in Vegas for a week, and I got to kind of experience what it would be like, being on the show and, meeting the producers and all that stuff. And it was really cool. And if that opportunity arises again, man, I check all the time, is there 55 coming up for the Ultimate Fighter? Is there 45? I can't make 35. But if, 55 or 45 are there, I'm flying out to Vegas next day, and I'm there. If you want me for a 2-day notice, 3-day notice, I'm there. Like, it's been a dream of mine ever since I was a kid. I mean, the very first fight I saw was the first BJ Penn, Matt Hughes fight. And I was like back in 2004, 2003 or something like that. And I've been hooked ever since. And it's been a dream of mine just to make that walk, have my family there, see Dana there, all that other cool stuff. And yeah, man, it's a dream. So if I get that opportunity or that ask, then I'm there in a heartbeat.
Probably faster than a heartbeat, I'm sure.
Like, I see the Nevada area code up on my phone. Yes, that's it. Done.
That's what I'm talking about. All right, so let's talk about your fight coming up, right? Again, I hate to mention it again, but you are coming off of a layoff, but you've been pretty active with jiu-jitsu and competing. So what does Estevez do well that we need to keep an eye
on? Estevez is a fast starter. He is a longer fighter. So it kind of resembles what I fought, or the guy I fought last time, and Shaquem being a little bit long and tall. But I'm also very big for my weight class. I'm almost 6 feet tall. The one thing that he does have in me is reach, but he doesn't possess the mental toughness I possess. He doesn't possess the grit and that fuck you mentality that I have. In the fights that I've seen and the guys that he's beaten, and no disrespect to the guys he's beaten or him, but they're not the level of the guys that I faced. They're not their records are trash. And in what I've seen, he breaks. He mentally folds, and he mentally breaks, and he mentally gets weak when the fight starts getting a little bit more in your face. And that's the kind of fighter I am. I go out there and I try to finish guys, and I put a pace on people, even with one eye or no eyes. I'm going to be in his face, and I'm going to make it a ugly, just a hard fight for him. And I'm going to showcase a lot of the things I've been working on for the last couple of years. Like I said before, I'm a karate guy. Karate was the first thing I started with, and I'm going to be going in my wheelhouse a little bit for this fight. And, Estevez is a good fighter, and I appreciate him taking it on short notice and coming all the way from Boston, but, you're going to go home with a loss, buddy.
I like the security and the confidence, right? Those are two things that you need going into a fight, because if you're insecure about something or you're not confident about something, what happens? You don't perform. You know what I mean? And I'm sure that when people see you coming out, they're gonna get a show, right? Because you've got, all this time, all this progression, all these things that you've been working on to make yourself a better fighter, and now people are gonna get to see it.
Absolutely. I mean, one thing that, I tell my students all the time is martial arts in general, whether it be jiu-jitsu, boxing, karate, whatever your, martial art of choice may be, is the only sport with no off season. It's the only sport where we don't have seasons and spring training and, preseason and this and that. Like, we're training year round. And I took a couple months off from my eye, and then, was training hard, but not training as focused. But within those times of training, I was getting back to my roots. I was getting back to what I'm good at and what I teach every single day, and then started incorporating it into my sparring and started noticing, like, okay, maybe there's something here. And every fight there's a new level of progression. There's a new thing that every fighter should always try to do, and trying to beat their last performance per se. And that's exactly what I want to do. I mean, I've had about 2.5 years off, and I plan on going out there and putting on the show of a lifetime. And if that, skyrockets me to another level, then great. If it, keeps me where I'm at, awesome. I'm just excited for the opportunity to get back in there and know that I still can do it. And that's it, man. Like I said, I've been working my ass off, and I've been just grinding and doing the things that I know need to be done to get ready for this fight. And that's it. Like you said, the confidence. I always try to go in there with a really strong mindset of confidence, but not cockiness. Because anything can happen. Anything can happen. I can get cracked again. I can get my other eye bashed or this eye bashed. It can happen. But being aware, being honest, and being truthful to what we've done up until that point, that's it. So I'm excited and I'm ready, and I'm going to put on a show. I'm going to put on a really, really good show.
Well, I can't wait to watch it. Now, unfortunately, this is going to be taking place on Father's Day, correct?
Correct. Yes, sir. Yeah.
And it's not that I'm opposed to watching fights on Father's Day, because I am a dad. Okay, that is simply just not the case. I'm working that night. I'm commentating for my card. Okay.
Well, congratulations.
So what's that?
Congratulations. You're putting on your own show. That's awesome.
Well, it's not. Okay, I say my show, but I'm just the commentator. It's not my show.
Yeah, awesome, though. So awesome. Yeah.
So I told Simpson as well that, I'll just have to watch it the next day. Okay. But confidence in this game is key. And I think that without it, you're really not going to get anywhere unless you just have that natural ability and, Satan's chin. You know what I mean? So it's very rare that somebody gets, you know, to the peak of this just off of talent, because it's 90% mentality. You know what I mean? Because it's not just mentality in the fight; it's the mentality in the training. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
The guys that like I've trained with, you know, it's weird because, you know, when I started doing this, a lot of what I did was based off of talent. And not to kind of get off into a whole spiel, but like I wasn't always a Gracie Barra student. Beforehand, like I said earlier, you know, my family runs successful martial arts schools, and we were a part of another chain of martial arts schools. I want to say maybe 15 years ago now. And once we had left that studio and, you know, branched off and became our own, is when I went over to Gracie Barra. And back when we were with that other team, I was able to kind of do things based on athleticism. I was young. I was like 17, 18 years old. I was able to do things based off of athleticism or seeing them on TV and just kind of like winging it. And it worked for the most part. But then when I went and started training with other guys that's all they do day in, day out, they just do jiu-jitsu, they just box, or they just kickboxing. It was a whole new realm of like, holy shit, these guys can fucking fight. You know, and like every fight that I've had since then, whether it's a win or a loss, I always add something new to my game to help improve on those things that I fucked up on. You know, like I had a kickboxing match and I got outboxed. So I was like, I got to add a boxing coach. I had one of my last MMA matches as an amateur and I got out wrestled. I ended up winning because the other guy got hurt. So it's a win by default. And so I don't really count it as a win, but I was like, I got to start wrestling more. Like this guy ragdolled me for a round and a half, and I'm not about to go into the pros like that. That's just not going to happen. And, you know, we made the necessary adjustments. And like you said, you can't go far in this game based off of talent. What's the saying? It's like talent beats skill when skill doesn't work hard, but skill will always beat talent if it works hard, or something like that. You know what I mean? If you have the skill, you work your ass off to hone it in, then you become a very scary individual. But if you go just based off of, you know, I do this in the gym, I do that in the gym, and, you know, I'm the king of my gym. Well, you're not fighting guys in your gym. You're fighting guys from other gyms. You gotta fucking put the work in. And that's the hardest part. This is where, in the training room, is usually where injuries happen. You know, thank God, like, only the eye and the shoulder injury have ever happened in a fight. But all the other injuries that I've had have happened in training. And, you know, that's the unfortunate thing about what we do, is we get hurt a lot when we practice. But if you put in the work, you beat guys that are talented 9 times out of 10. You know, 9 times out of 10 guys that are talented don't make it that far if they just go based off of talent.
yeah. And then, you know, the thing that sucks about getting injured in training is you're not getting paid for that. You know what I mean? That's not where you're making your money. You're making your money when you get to the fight, and that's what you're training for. So getting injured kind of fucks that whole thing up.
Exactly.
So, but, you know, I'm glad that things are finally starting to get back to, you know, getting back on track to, you know, where you were. You know what I mean? Making the return, fighting for, you know, a promotion like Fury, which, like I said, they do a phenomenal job. You know, you've gotten an agency behind you now, so things are starting to, you know, fall into place. And, you know, it's, if you put in the work, like I know you can put in the work. The ceiling, you know what I mean, is limitless.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. You know, I was at a really down point whenever all these things started coming up and positive things started happening. I was ready to retire. I was ready to just hang them up and say, fuck this. Like, I don't want to get hit in the face anymore. Even though I was still kind of coming back and, you know, thinking about coming back. And then my now manager, who's a really, really great guy, great martial artist, great friend, and just really understood where I was at in my life. And that's Chris Lopez. Former MMA fighter, management extraordinaire. He's been kicking ass for me, and he's been really patient with me. You know, we had other fights scheduled, and I was like, Chris, I'm just not ready. You know, like I want to get back in there, but just it didn't feel right. And he was like, I understand, man. Take your time. Don't rush this shit back. You know, that's one thing that a lot of other managers will do is they'll be like, no, you got to take this fight if you want to be in the UFC or if you want to be there. You got to do this, you got to do that. And he's been extremely understanding, kind of, helped me in many ways, more of like a brother than more of like a manager, if that makes sense. Like he's just been there. And that's one thing that I credit a lot of my success to is I have a really great team behind me. People say this is an individual sport, and it is. You fight by yourself, but you don't get ready by yourself. I have a team of supporters that rivals anybody, and my family, my students, my coaches, my manager. It all helps get. It's helped me get to where I'm at now, and with things falling into places where they are now, like you said, the ceiling is limitless, and I'm excited to see what my future holds. Hopefully, within the next year, by the end of 2022, you'll see me fighting in a big show somewhere.
Well, I'm fucking stoked that you're back. You know what I mean? Because it's one of those things where you don't know, especially after an injury and then COVID. COVID fucked a whole bunch of shit up. You know what I mean? So, I know a lot of fighters that literally COVID killed their career. You know what I mean? So just now coming back, gyms closed. It's been a fucking, disaster. But for the guys that were able to, I don't want to say muscle through, but the guys that were able to scrape by, the guys that were able to, survive during the whole fucking thing, I'm just excited to see a lot of these guys, make their comeback, and you're one of them. So
thanks, brother. And it was tough, man. I mean, COVID really put us to a number. We unfortunately had to close down one of our facilities. I ended up working bagging groceries and stocking shelves at a local grocery store for the first 2.5 months of the pandemic, because that's all that was open. It was hospitals, grocery stores, and like essential businesses. So like I couldn't teach, I couldn't, do anything, and we were almost ready to close the doors as well. But thank God, things turned around when they did, and we were able to slowly but surely implement new things and come out on the other side okay. We're still working on it, and I mean, again, just like every other business that's a mom and pop shop, we're trying our best to do what we got to do. But yeah, man, it sucks. It really sucks, because I know a lot of guys that lost their gyms, lost the ability to fight because they had to get regular jobs. That's the thing that sucks. This is not a regular job, and it really puts things in perspective if you can't put food on the table by doing your job. A lot of guys that have families and have kids, but that's why they fight, is for them, and then it was taken away from them. It just sucks. So I really do feel for them, and God willing, they'll be able to come back and hopefully, figure it out.
for sure. Now, I'm going to take this to a more positive note here.
Yep.
Okay,
Let's
so
do it.
on June 20th, over at Fury 47, when they raise your hand and announce you as the winner, okay, you're now 4-1 as a pro. All right, everybody has to eat. So what is going to be the Gaza Kid's post-fight victory meal?
Shit.
Well, see, we know you're in Texas, so you don't have to wait till you get home. What's that?
I said it always used to be, and I'm a guy that kind of believes in superstition a little bit and believes in, pre-fight rituals and post-fight rituals, some to a certain extent. And it always was a patty melt from Whataburger with a large Dr. Pepper, large fries, and a hot apple pie. But I think I'm going to go back to the old school ways and just keep it simple. Go to Whataburger, get a patty melt, Dr. Pepper, and probably go have a beer or two with my buddies afterwards, and back on the gym on Monday. And I got to teach on Monday, so I can't get too hungover.
Well, you went with Whataburger, which is my favorite burger joint. They dropped the ball this past weekend. They dropped the ball. My wife went and got us some doubles with bacon and jalapenos. They gave me like 2 jalapenos and forgot all of our bacon, right? So they kind of dropped the ball a little bit. But
I will say this. I will say this about Whataburger. Whataburger, since they were bought out by a Chicago company, has kind of dwindled in their, you know, a little bit of their quality. But I still fucks with Whataburger, so I can't. I mean, it's Whataburger. They could be owned by wherever. I don't care. But still, come on, Whataburger, pick it up.
yeah, for real. So they dropped the ball a little bit, but it's still, you know, I got love for Whataburger. And then the Dr. Pepper, that's Giannis's thing.
Yeah, apparently
So
that's what I heard.
yeah, we got to pay tribute to the man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But so that did not disappoint. Like I said, Whataburger's got a special place in my heart, and everybody drops the ball once in a while, so they get a pass, right? They get
it's okay. It's okay. If not Whataburger, then probably like I'm simple, man. I can eat a slice of pizza and I'll be fine. As long as it's good food, I don't care. I'll support my local mom and pop restaurants. There's a really good place out in Houston called Star Pizza. They got amazing food. So wherever, man, wherever my family and friends want to go, that's where I'll go. But definitely Whataburger that night for sure.
All right, man. Well, again, I want to thank you for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure having you on, getting to know you a little bit before you know, get the gloves on and go punch people in the face for monies, right? Stoked to see you get back to it, but I want to give you as much time as you'd like to thank any family, friends, training partners, coaches, management team. I don't care, man. Just take the floor.
I'd like to take this opportunity to first and foremost thank you, Steven, for allowing me to be here. I really appreciate it, man. We need more guys like you giving us, you know, local fighters exposure. So thank you so much. I really genuinely appreciate it. Then I would like to thank my parents. This fight takes place on Father's Day, and my father has always been in my corner. He's been there for every single one of my fights. Nothing's changing. He'll be there. And this fight is dedicated for him, it being on Father's Day. And you know, it's a really big blessing for him to still want to be there, even though he saw me get my eye bashed in, and it was a long road to get him back in there with me, but we're here. My mom especially, she's been there every step of the way and has helped me through a lot of these like really, really tough, dark times these last few years. And Mom, Dad, thank you so much. I love you both more than you'll ever understand. My sister, Layla, I love you. My nephews, all of my students. You know, I always tell them when I sell tickets, because that's how we make money selling tickets, you know, having them there is like having an army cheer for you. It's the coolest feeling in the world when you're in an adult setting and you have all these like people that are, you know, albeit they're drinking or whatever, but my students are there and they're cheering for me. That's the coolest feeling in the world. Seeing those kids and their smile on their faces and having them there brings me a lot of joy and energy and so again, thank you to all my students. I can't forget Lena. Lena, I love you. If you're gonna watch this, Lena, you're amazing. She's my other sister. Not really my sister, but I call her my sister. And just anybody and everybody that I've ever known and, you know, who's been a part of this, all my coaches, Professor Aquilino, Crew Bob, Uko, Angel, Chris Lopez, my manager, everybody. You guys are amazing, and thank you so much. And I'm fucking ready. Let's do this. I'm ready.
Me too, buddy. Me too. So June 20th over at Fury FC 47, you're going to be fighting Estevez. It's going to be fun. So I was just going to go ahead and tell you, I'll just, you know, send the congratulations on the W. Okay. Because that's how we do things over here at Head Kick Audio. All my fighters, because if you're on my show, you're my fighter. All my fighters are winners, and that's just how we do it. So no problem. No problem. Let's hey, you know what we could do after you secure that W, right? Mm-hmm. We get on the post fight and we both have the Whataburger. You know what I'm saying?
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do a post fight Skype with some Whataburger. I'm down.
All right. Count me in, buddy. Count me in. So again, June 20th, Fury FC 47, and it's going to be on Fight Pass. So if you don't have that sub, you need to get it in now. It's only what, like $10?
I think it's like cheaper than Netflix. I mean, $10, and guys, you get literally every fight you could think of. If you're a fight fan or even a semi-fight fan, get Fight Pass. You know what I'm saying?
Could you imagine if semis actually fought? That would be weird, wouldn't it?
right? That would be very weird. Steven, man,
yeah.
I appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much, man.
Not a problem. You get back to your day, and we'll talk to you soon, my man.
Thanks, brother. I'll see you guys soon.